Okay. All right. Hi, guys.
Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Well, I'm assuming this will go up on your channel, Kim, and maybe James's channel. I'll just make a bumper on ours because Harry's got no internet at the moment.
Okay.
Don't know why, so he's not able to join us. So we've decided, guys, to get together, the three of us, to get together because Kim and James have got some really, really interesting ideas. So, and I'm sorry, look, it's nearly 6:30 at night here, and I've got my dressing gown on because it's fucking cold. Okay, I don't turn the heating on. Oh, the heating will be turned on the 15th. I'm like, that's another 5 days. I've got to freeze, well, not freeze, but it ain't warm. So,
Okay.
all right, Kimmy, so you want to take it away, girl?
What's James's channel? Do you want to tell about James's channel? And my channel name's changed. So I've changed the name of my YouTube channel from, it's no longer The Bard. It's now called W3M3, which is actually We Me.
Yeah.
And then James's channel is called, what's your channel called, James?
The Energy Tribe. The Energy Tribe brackets James Brockhurst.
Energy Flow Tribe.
Sorry, the Energy Flow Tribe. I apologize.
Okay.
And then brackets James Brockhurst. Yeah. So, guys, if you haven't checked James's channel out, please do. He puts out some awesome stuff, and he loves the wordplay. He loves playing with the English language, don't you, bro?
Well, doing things in different ways, breaking words down.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to share screen, and then I'm going to show you a couple of tiny little presentations that I made up today. So the first one of them, can you let me know if you can see it?
Yep.
Okay, so the chicken and the egg. Now, you said earlier, what did you say about the chicken and the egg?
Well, we talk about this this realm. People talk about it being a simulation, and I think simulation is probably the wrong word to use. I think it's more of a video game, more of a hologram. But we always say, what came first, the chicken and the egg? And I think it was Crow 777 that made this point a long time ago. He said, if that doesn't prove that this reality is not quote unquote real, I don't know what does. I mean, what came first? I mean, we say the chicken. You could say a bird. I mean, there are many animals and birds that lay eggs. So what came first, the chicken or the egg? It's kind of crazy.
The answer is the cockerel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Very funny. All right. So Claudio, who we did the video with like 10 days ago, has been teaching me that everything in this realm is pertinent. Everything has a meaning. Even you, James, last night when we were talking, was telling me this about this address, this synchronicity in this address I had, and how the address actually meant something. So everything's got meaning. Even if a fly is landing on you right now, everything is relevant. Okay. So I'm going to tell you a story to show you that everything's relevant and the meanings that we arrived at and the conclusion of what the story meant. It's a true story and it happened yesterday. So a friend visited me. Actually, all right, the friend visited me and she usually brings eggs. She usually brings a dozen eggs, right? But this time she only brought 8 eggs because a fox had eaten one of her chickens. So the neighbor of where she lives had a snake and they wanted rid of the snake. So her partner went over and got the snake and put the snake in with the chickens to protect the chickens from the fox. Then the partner asked her to go and get the dog to see how the dog would react to the snake. And the dog attacked the snake and snapped the snake in two. Yeah. So everything being pertinent and what have you. So I typed this into the channel that I've been on with Claudio, which is called the Journey of Adorant in Telegram. And between us, we came up with this synopsis, right? So we came up with the chicken is the sun, the egg being primal beginning, just like you said, which came first, the chicken, the egg, the sun, the moon, whatever. So the chicken's the primal beginning. The dog is the god.
Yeah.
And anybody that's watched your channel for any period of time would know why the dog is the god. And the fox isn't that a cute picture of a fox? Isn't that beautiful?
Oh, it's lovely, isn't it?
And the fox is about boundaries, right? So then the snake's about fear. And the reason that the snake's about fear is because the collective has been so heavily programmed to relate fear to snakes, or snakes to fear. So the moral of the story is, and I'm going to have to move your little pictures here because it's in the way, is we shouldn't fear the snake as the snake is wisdom, and we shouldn't fear wisdom. We should apply boundaries. And if we're at all unsure of any of that, get a dog. Oh, God. And I just wanted to say thank you to my buddies at the Journey of Adorant group working that out. Because it took us a while. We just having a bit of laugh with it. Anyway.
Yeah.
There you go. So that's my real life story with that one. And then I'm going to go out of here and I'm going to tell you about the other one, which was something that we talked a bit about yesterday when we were chatting. And we were going to kind of talk about this a bit more in relation to us all putting it in. So before I
do you
say,
want to make it full screen, Kim? You've got the slides on the left. Cool. Yeah.
So if you're angry, you're wrong. So this is me saying this. Don't be angry at me about that, because I'm right and you're wrong. All right, you accept that, both of you?
Yeah. Well, I do. Do you, Jim?
Yeah. Okay. So why? Because if I'm wrong and I'm angry, the reason that I'm angry is because my subconscious mind is completely conflicting with my conscious mind. So something I'm thinking, excuse me, both doing it, you and me together, simultaneous.
Well, I've got a beer. That's my excuse.
Oh, I've got a cup of tea. Doesn't work quite the same.
Oh, okay.
And it's rose hip and hibiscus. Very healthy.
Oh, it's not Earl Grey.
No,
it's not Earl Grey then.
No, darling, it's rose hip and hibiscus tea. It's
rose hip.
Awfully pink. I don't know whether you can see it, but it's like
marvelous.
pink. It's like pink in color.
Yeah, rose hip tea. Yeah.
All right, so let me just get back to what the serious shit, right? So my subconscious mind is conflicting with my conscious mind, and the anger's relating to the middle bit because I'm trying to come to terms in my own self with what's going on. All right.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
So I've blown it up out of all proportion, and I've fallen out with you because you've got a different opinion than me.
Yeah.
And I'm standing my ground, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm having this big blow up, which is all language as well. It's all relating to language, this. So you fall out with yourself when you experience an awakening. So you fall out with yourself and your atoms get scattered. Why? Because you remove a brick from the base, which would be from the cornerstone of what you believe to be true. And you're now sitting on shaky foundations because one of the bricks in your towers has been removed. One of the things that you truly believed was true is gone. So you're now sitting on shaky foundations. So when you're sitting on shaky foundations, I've just had this huge blow up, right? And the atoms are all over the room. They're scattered all over the place, right? I've erupted. I've gone off my tree. And my tower's crumbling because you took out one of the cornerstones or I took out one of the cornerstones. The whole thing's like, I'm now in a reactive state. And the reason that I'm in a reactive state is because I've got no walls, I've got no boundaries, I've got no foundation anymore because I've removed it and it hasn't had a chance to get settled again.
Interesting how all those words that you're using there are all connected to the, the nuclear,
I
shall we
know.
say, for want of a better word.
Atomic
Yeah.
state, considering
Yeah.
we're made of atoms.
Yeah.
So I'm now
Very.
reactive. I know.
Mm.
So I feel insecure until such time that I can gather my atoms back in. But the problem is that I'm not going to put any atoms back in there that don't belong in there anymore because I'm rebuilding my wall. So with that, I'm taking subjects that I'm not entirely sure about and thinking, well, do I really believe that or don't I? And I might like kind of throw something out that I've had in there for years that I believed in anyway. So I'm rebuilding myself. I'm re-putting my atoms back together, and woe betide anybody that comes near me whilst I'm rebuilding my atoms. Don't suggest anything. Don't make any suggestions about what I should do about my upset state.
Yeah, totally agree.
So do not offer me anything or I'm likely to bite you. I am reactive.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Yeah.
And then gradually as my atoms rebuild, I would go back to responding, not reacting. But the effect of the blow up has left me sensitive.
Yeah.
So it might take a few further days for me to really settle down. I could be still slightly reactive or slightly on edge. And look at that, like kind of reactive picture there, just to show like the core of it. And
Plasma.
then outside of it, you've got like waves or and then I rebuild my foundation based on the stuff that I now know to be true. I've thrown out anything that doesn't belong in my lie system, and I can return to being calm.
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
Okay, and the bit that James added to this when we were talking about it last night was James said, when you enter a room where there's been an argument, you might say, let's wait for the dust to settle.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've spoken about this many, many times in the past. When you walk into a room and automatically or straight away think, oh my God, who's died? Because of the atmosphere in the room. Or you could walk into a room full of happy people, you could be feeling quite miserable. You walk into a room full of happy people and you're not miserable for very long. You snap out of it and you go, oh wow, this is great. We just call it atmosphere, but I think it goes deeper than that. I really do. What do you think, James? What do you think, James?
Yeah, there's definitely an effect, collective energy of people, but in this reality, you have a thing called B&B, bed and breakfast. So that's rest and reef. So spiritually, it's balance and boundaries.
Yeah.
And I was thinking with what you're saying, Kim, when you've sort of exploded, when you're sort of rebuilding yourself between the bricks of your construction, you need cement, which is you're seeing in the mind, and you're sort of putting yourself back together.
Wow. Yeah, I've never connected ment with cement. No, that's a good one. That's a good one, Jim. Yeah, awesome. Awesome. But Kim, when the three of us were talking last night and you were saying about how to change the past. Now, of course, everybody would laugh when you say, oh, you can't change the past. You can't change the past. But you came up with something last night that was really, really good.
It's not me, it's Claudio's stuff. But
okay.
What Claudia was saying is that you can change the past. And the way that you change the past is you change the way that you view it. You view a situation. So
you change your perspective
of it. So like the example I gave, which was a really bad example, and I don't know whether either of you have come up with a better one. I can give that bad one again if you want.
Well, that wasn't a bad one at all.
All right. Well, The one I gave was, say I'd murdered somebody when I was 20, and say my memory of it was stabbing them through the heart. And I'd done 20 years in prison for stabbing somebody through the heart. And my memory, the only part of it that I actually remembered was stabbing them. And then I felt really guilty, really, really guilty. And that memory just overplayed over and over and over and over and over in my mind. But it's so firmly encased in my mind that that's all I remember about the incident. So I really believe that I killed somebody, or intentionally killed somebody. But then when I meditate on that and I go back and I remember it, I mean, this didn't happen. This is a made up scenario. But when I go back and I remember it, I remember that actually I was coming down a set of stairs, and my dress was long, and I tripped, and I tripped over the hem of my dress. And I fell down I happened to have the knife in my hand, and I fell down the steps. And when I reached the bottom of the steps, my best friend was there, and I happened to land and stab her through the heart to break my fall. And
so it was unintentional, but because of the memory of killing your best friend, which, guys, it's not real, but it was that particular memory that played in your mind. You did 20 years in jail and so on and so forth. But in reality, it was an accident.
But we remember it differently. I actually have a true story like that, where I did kill somebody when I was 20, but it was in a car accident. But it wasn't intentional, and I did get over it relatively quickly, and I didn't blame myself for it. He was propelled onto my car, and my car went over the top of him. He came into my car, and then he fell off the bonnet, and then my car went over the top of him. And I did kill him. He wasn't dead when I backed my car off him, but the police got right up me because I backed the car off him and said I should have left the car on top of him.
Wow.
And I said, well, he would have been dead because one of the wheels was on his neck and the other one was on his groin.
Wow.
And they said no, because they're actually backing the car up and does more damage than leaving the car on top of him.
I've got a story about that, if I can find it. It might take me a minute, so just keep talking.
I want to hear from James because he's got loads to say.
Me too. Me too. We're not letting him speak. Come on, James.
No, you've muted, so we're not hearing you at all.
Yeah, unmute.
Sorry. Yeah, it's interesting you've used the atomic explosion, because I used that analogy in the video that we are the potential. The explosion is the loss of energy. So if you explode out in anger, you're sort of wasting energy.
Yeah.
It's just like the nuclear. It's funny, it resembles a brain as well, but it folds back in on itself. It resembles the toroidal field of a magnet.
Yeah.
It
so
does.
Back to the old Taurus energy. And then the other thing that happened to me today was I sat in the lounge and I noticed how much energy was buzzing through me or around me, and I didn't know why there was so much energy, but it's a definite shift. I don't know.
Without a doubt.
Have you felt it? Have you guys felt it?
I feel it every day.
Yeah. What do you reckon, James?
Well, today it's like fast moving clouds, really windy and unsettled, and it's probably a sort of reflection of the US voting.
Right.
Right. I'm gonna read you this. This is a mainstream news article that my friend sent me. Okay. The headline: driver seriously injured after being run over 3 times by her own car. A woman in Switzerland was seriously injured after she got out of a car with the engine still on, only for it to run her over 3 times. The 45-year-old had stepped out of her car in a residential area in northeastern Switzerland, probably in order to get something out the boot. But then the car, which was on a slight angle, rammed into another vehicle and rebounded back in the opposite direction, running over the woman a second time, police said. But then the car hit a sidewalk, sending it back towards the woman and running her over a third time before finally hitting a wooden barrier and coming to a halt. Now, if anybody in their right minds believes that nonsense, but it came to my mind when you were talking about running over that, or you know, that unfortunate guy. But yeah, this woman got run over 3 times by her own car, but she didn't die. She's perfectly okay. The nonsense that we're being fed right now is just off the charts. It's insane.
How much are you willing to believe?
Yeah, that is really it. How much are you willing to believe? But I know many people that would read that and go, "Oh my God, oh wow, oh shit, that's crazy." It's bullshit, all of it. Yeah, but it's almost like we're being tested at the moment for how much they can get away with when it comes to some of these quote unquote news stories that are totally fabricated,
Well, I'd say that they've pulled off the greatest one about 2 years ago.
3 years ago. 3 years ago. Yeah. And people still buy it.
Yeah.
Especially here.
Let's get off that subject.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually think that actual thing had its own purposes and had its own place in where we needed to go. Because I tell you what, this world was boring as batshit before it. And we were all going insane in relation to where we were going, because none of us had any particular direction at all.
Yeah, I agree. But things are changing. Things are changing. They're changing for the better, but we're still in for a shit show. I mean, I don't know if you saw, I can't remember the guy's name, James, but DeSantis in Florida beat some guy called Christ. His surname was Christ, Crist. Now, if you look at DeSantis, DSANT, almost like Santa, almost like Satan, and he beat Christ, Crist. I mean, you can't make this shit up. Hey, you can check this, guys. Anybody listening to this, you can check this out for yourself. There's an American politician called Antony Blinken, Blinken, Antony Blinken, and his Twitter account is A Blinken. A Blinken. You can't make this up. Abe Lincoln. Yep. I mean, it's just sheer mockery. The whole thing is sheer mockery. And that gets back to what we were saying earlier about, are we in a simulation or are we in a video game? I think we're in a video game. I think we're in a movie. Because none of this makes sense. I mean, look at the names of recent politicians. Boris Johnson, BJ. Joe Biden, BJ. Jacqueline and Boaz, the two pillars. Right? So you got Johnson. You know, we're all from the UK originally. Johnson is a slang name for your Willie. Yeah. Then you had Matt Hancock. You had that copper woman Cressida Dick. You know, say that with a Italian accent. Then you had Don, number 45, right? Who by Don. You know, by Don. You got the guy in Russia who was put in. You know, it's so in your face once you see it.
One in Australia. What's the one in Australia?
The one in Australia is so funny. The guy in Australia is called Anthony Albanese, right? Now, in England, you had Boris Johnson, who became Bojo. In Australia, we had Scott Morrison, who became ScoMo. And now we have Anthony Albanese, ANAL. I mean, you can't make this up. And I'm sick of saying that because somebody clearly is.
I know.
You know?
I know.
Absolutely insane. But it's a movie. It's a script. The whole thing is just a movie.
But even, you know, like down today, when Sari and I were working out all this stuff about the synchronicity of, because Claudia had really made it clear, and also you last night, James, about there's so much we miss. So like walk out the door and a ladybird lands on you, and what does the you look up the symbology of a ladybirds, and that relates to something that's going on in your life, or a particular bird song that you know you go, oh, that's a different bird, and you come in and look that up, and you go, oh, that bird is representative of blah blah blah. I should be paying attention to that, right? So we're doing this thing, and we're trying to break down this. I don't know, trying to break down that sun and the fox thing, and a fly came and landed on me, and I'm thinking, where did that fly come from? So I haven't been out this morning.
Yeah.
There's no.
Well, I had that, didn't I? Remember we were talking about this a while ago.
Yeah.
When I had that, I had a fly on my window, was on the outside. Yeah, and I thought he was on the inside, but he wasn't. He was on the outside, and the next minute he's on the inside, buzzing around. I'm like, what the fuck? Where did he come from?
It's really weird. So then we looked up what the symbology of a fly was, and even the fly's got a symbology attached to it. You know, I don't know what it is, but it landed on me. So then we were looking up the symbology of the fly. So, and then Sari had this thing with a cockroach, and she'd looked up the cockroach, and the cockroach is like, take care of everything, or sort of like survival of anything, you know, you can do it kind of stuff. Anyway, so I think that because we're all getting thrown into this, I don't know, if things to me feel like they're sped up. And I feel that we're all in a stream or all in some sort of rapids, and we're all hurtling down a tunnel towards something, and we're kind of surfing it. We're sort of like surfing the whole thing, and paying attention to absolutely everything.
Yeah.
Wow. Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to run out of time in a minute. So, anything you want to finish with, James?
I was going to only add to that. Yeah, a few weeks ago now, I went to see Rudy and the Dogs channel. Unfortunately, he's taken all his videos down at the moment. But
oh wow,
went for a walk with him with his dogs, and there was like 0 insects. But
wow,
a couple of weeks later, for 2 consecutive days, I've sat in town and I've had this one lone bee, and it's like, well, where did that come from? It's landed on my arm. It's like it's a sign to say everything's okay from nature.
Do you think that the bee's just being, or he's just telling you, like, the word being, BEING or BEING?
Yeah.
Just being.
Yeah.
There's something to that. Definitely. Yeah.
Or just be it.
Just be
just
it.
be.
Yeah.
To be or not to be.
No, you and your thing. Okay. And just before we go, can you tell me a little bit about your channel? Can you tell me anything about what it's about?
My channel, it sort of covers anything and anything really. It's more moved to the spiritual side of things than the truth-seeking side.
Very esoteric, aren't you, James? On your channel.
Yeah. It's looking how the things affect you inwards. Because really, it's sort of anything outside yourself, do you know it to be 100% true? I mean, all these media stories, I mean, I just don't give them any attention anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
All right. Sounds like, you know, somebody asked me the other day what my channel was about, and I just said, I don't know, you'd have to watch it, because it's kind of whatever's in my head today.
Yeah. Same with me and Harry.
Yeah.
When we get together, you know, it's just whatever we come up with at the time.
I can't tell anybody what it's about. You'd have to just go and have a look at it, because I don't know. Don't ask me, because I just don't know.
Yeah.
It's about now.
Anything and everything. And everything. All right, guys. Well, it's been great for the three. We've got to do this again sometime.
Yeah.
In the not so distant future. But that was a great presentation, Kim. That really was good. I enjoyed that.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. We'll see you soon. Thanks for coming.
All right.
See ya.
Take
Bye.
care.